Welcome back to In the Cockpit, the monthly interstitial show that we do here at Copilot's Review, where we talk about things that we're not reviewing.
Oh, we're not allowed to review the things we talk about?
I mean, we could review them. There's nothing stopping us from reviewing things that we talk about on In the Cockpit.
But you just said where we talk about things that we're not reviewing.
Yeah, I mean, like, in the same way that we review the first 2 episodes of the show and tell you our opinions on if a show deserves more than just one shot. Not those type of reviews. You could still review stuff on here. Nothing's stopping you.
No, neat. I have no intentions of doing that. I was just wondering, we've never really super clarified if there are any rules around this or not. So, I didn't know.
I think the rules around this are it needs to be 45 minutes and then we can ship it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Those are the rules. Before we dive into conversation topics, if you have any.
Yeah, definitely. No, absolutely. Definitely have those.
Just want to thank everybody who entered into the Copilot's annual holiday giveaway. The winners have been selected.
Indeed they have.
We will reach out to you, let you know, and find a way to get you that cash prize.
Yep.
We're also on Blue Sky now.
We are, actually.
I believe that's going to be at copilotsreview.bsky.
.social, technically, but if you're on Blue Sky, you can generally just search at whatever comes before the .bsky.
Yeah, it's going to be at copilotsreview.bsky.social.
Yeah, but you can search just at Copilot's Review and you should find it.
So, that's good. That's new. We can now start migrating away from the hellscape that is Twitter.
Yay!
And a big shout out to infrequent guest and longtime passenger Chris for those Blue Sky social codes.
Yeah, very useful. Though I do have to go back through now and...
We just add it to the dash.
Though I do have to go back through now and re-follow everything of import that exists on Blue Sky, at least.
Yeah, and we also need to go and add that to the Simplecast website.
Yep, that's not too hard, though.
No, that's going to be easy.
Yeah, honestly, the following things is going to be more annoying.
Yeah, I haven't really followed. I started the process of following, but only a handful. Like the System Mastery guys.
Yeah.
Frank Lepore, my favorite Magic the Gathering content creator. Neil Gaiman, because I can't go anywhere on social media without following that man.
I did the way I normally do, which is I have found that James D'Amato of One Shot.
Yeah, James the Tomato.
Yeah, I followed him later than I followed a lot of the other shit I did on Twitter. But I found he just followed a lot of the same shit I already followed. So,
just find his page, find the things he follows.
That's what I did, yeah. And I was like, here are the people I follow from James' lists.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then I also used my friends that have already been on there for a while. And then just, hey, yep, I was following this before. Hey, that one actually sounds really interesting. You know, that shit.
Yeah, completely understandable. That's basically how I did it as well.
Yep.
I did search out Frank and Neil, but...
Fair enough, yeah. One of those is worth searching out and following.
Yeah, actually both of them are.
I don't care about magic.
I know you don't.
But I do care about good magic systems, which is why I like Neil Gaiman.
Good segue. Interrupted mine, but good segue. I was going to say, speaking of magic, which I guess I can still say speaking of magic.
Yeah.
Speaking of magic, did you see the recent AI art debacle with Wizards of the Coast?
You mean the one that they definitely didn't do, but they probably should have had the oversight to make sure it didn't happen anyways, and they're sorry that it did, and they'll make sure it never happens again. We promise.
This is the second time we promised.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If
you're using a third-party marketing group, and you've already declared on multiple occasions that you are not using AI art in any final or finished product, and your marketing advertisements and marketing material, a thing that you're going public with, so you have a finalized version of that marketing material, so it's a finalized piece of work, has AI art, you're a liar.
Okay, so if it had just been, they posted it, people were like, hey, this is AI art, and it was just been like, oh, hey, we fucked up, our bad. I don't think anybody would have cared, right? People would have still been pissed that, it
happened. Especially when Wizards said it wasn't going to.
The real issue is people were like, hey, this is obviously AI art. These are all the AI artifacting that you can see in the image. This is obviously AI art. This is all the artifacting you can see in the image. And Wizards had been like, oh, hey, you're right, our bad. And instead, Wizards was like, no.
Nope, definitely not true.
This isn't AI art. Contrary to popular belief, this is human-made art. And then a day later, they were like, oops.
I think it was 2 days, but yeah.
Oops, our bad. You were right. They didn't even say you were right. They were just like, oops, our bad. Turns out the third party we hired to commission this piece ended up using AI art assistant fill tools. It's like, yeah, your fan base told you 2 days ago.
And you called them liars.
Yeah. I think that's the real issue with the hot water for Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering on that one.
Yeah. And the fact that they had no one checked the final piece. Especially when there are tools to check for AI art that clearly your audience used. And they're going to be using in the future because you've proven before that you have a history of using AI art.
Well, obviously, they couldn't have anybody check it because 2 weeks before Christmas, they fired 1,500 people.
Fair.
And a lot of that was in-house artists and art staff.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So, obviously, they couldn't afford to have people check over marketing material for AI art.
Oh, God, no.
It's weird because like I still keep up with Magic the Gathering news and Wizards of the Coast in general.
Yeah.
I barely play Magic now. I still buy some Magic cards, specifically like the Universes Beyond stuff, because like, I really like the Doctor Who stuff. It's all very clever and well done, and like they capture the essence of...
It's neat.
They capture the essence of like characters in the card mechanics, and I enjoy that. It's the same reason why I'm getting the Fallout cards when they come out later this year. But like...
Fallout has characters?
Yeah, Fallout has...
I'm pretty sure they just have power armors and death claws. That's all I know about Fallout.
Death claws are getting cards.
Yeah, they just have power armor and death claws. That's all I know about Fallout.
But...
That's a lie. I've played Fallout.
You're like, that's a lie. I know a lot about Fallout.
I don't know a lot.
You probably know way more about Fallout than you think you do. Like,
I mean, probably, but like, they've never been my big cup of tea. Like, I've enjoyed the games when I've played them. New Vegas, I do agree, is probably the best Fallout, but like, even then, I don't remember a huge amount from it because they weren't. Nothing in the story particularly intrigued me in any of the other Fallout games I've played, but the games have been fine.
Out of all the Fallouts, I will say New Vegas has the best side characters, like companions.
Yeah.
But I think I enjoy Fallout 3 more than New Vegas.
I figured you'd say that.
As far as gameplay goes, New Vegas just has a lot of like the map of New Vegas has a lot of stuff going on where like it feels like you should be able to go to this place, but then like there's artificial boundaries in your way and shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's very much a game limited by its time, obviously, yeah.
But 3, a game that came out before New Vegas, map is much more like open and like easier to traverse, so that makes it feel better, in my opinion. And a large portion of Fallout for me is just wandering the wasteland.
Yeah, understandable.
And New Vegas puts artificial barriers in your way, and I don't like that. But New Vegas has better characters, so win some, lose some. But yeah, that's the only thing I keep up with Magic anymore, and like it's just hilarious to watch all the controversies.
Yeah.
Like, that Wizards is slowly, like... It's not even just Magic with Wizards. Like, last year they fucked up all the goodwill of the D&D crowd.
Yeah, they did.
They have slowly been fucking up all the goodwill of the Magic the Gathering crowd. Like, continuously and repeatedly. You know the Secret Lair thing? Secret Layers?
I know what Secret Layers are, yeah. I've bought a few. I still have a few somewhere.
And you know how they are, like, you pre-order them, and then they print to demand based on the order window? No longer the case.
Oh, fun.
Starting later this year, they are pre-printing a limited run, and then it's first come, first serve.
Gross.
Which is that whole issue with mechanically unique cards being printed in Secret Layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to exacerbate that issue. People aren't going to like it, but, you know, it's Wizards.
Mm-hmm. Look, the only way I'm fine with limited runs or limited prints of things in anything, really, is, one, if it's a limited print or limited run of a thing, like... limited run the video game place. Those are fine because you can get the game anywhere else. It's just a physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you have a limited edition or a limited print of something or something limitedly available that affects an ecosystem of it, that's a problem. Like if all Secret Layers were just, hey, here's a limited run of these cards. These cards already exist. We've just given them new art.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. Do it as limited as you fucking want. But when you're introducing cards with new mechanics, that's when you have a fucking issue.
Yeah, it's very much the same argument that the professor of Tulare Community College makes, where the style or visual element of a limited run thing, totally reasonable.
Yeah, if as long just as cosmetic.
As long as it's still mechanically available for players in that ecosystem.
Yep.
Like, it'd be like if Overwatch, a game I don't play, I know they have like a bunch of skins and stuff you can pay for, which everybody like complains about the skin market, but like...
You can play the game without the skin, so I don't.
But it would be like if they had a 1-week sell for this upgrade gun for your characters that you could equip to any character, and it just auto hit for 100% damage every time.
Yeah.
And then after a week it was gone, nobody could get it. You've literally like created a mechanically useful item that is now going to
unbalance everything else. Yeah.
Unbalance and gatekeep gameplay.
Yep.
And that's what Wizards does. Continuously, nonstop.
Yeah.
It's really weird how attracted I am to the dumpster fire of Wizards of the Coast when I have all but stopped the consumption of their product. I haven't played Magic the Gathering Arena since February of last year.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if
I
you
am aware
that
you just replaced your... I was vaguely aware of it because I realized you have replaced your Magic the Gathering time with Marvel Snap time.
I hadn't played Snapped until this week, literally, for over a month.
Yeah, but you had things like that when you were playing Magic consistently as well, where you would just stop playing for like a month. I think you've just substituted Magic with Marvel Snap.
I think Marvel Snap and wrestling.
You know what?
Like,
I think that's fine. I think those are both actually healthier for you than Magic the Gathering, which feels weird because I just say something vaguely positive about wrestling, and that doesn't fit the character I presented on this show. I've ruined kayfabe, and I'm sorry for that.
Like, the weird part is, I'm criticizing Wizards of the Coast for mechanically unique cards, but Snap is so bad about it. Like, every week they release new cards, and the only way to, like, actually get some of those cards is to shell out money.
Yeah.
Like, eventually you can get them by free-to-play, but the free-to-play grind is ridiculously impossible. Like, you're 3 to 4 months behind at minimum.
Yeah, I get that. But at least they're technically available eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I had to talk about. I did watch Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf recently, which is apparently a classic film.
It is all right.
I want you to know, and I talked, my friend who loaned me the movie and was like hyping it up. I told him like the same thing I told you about how about 70% of the way through the movie, I was fairly certain that like because in the movie the two main characters, George and Martha, continually reference like their ages being hundreds of years old, thousands of years old.
Yep.
And
a lot of it comes from George just insulting Martha, but it does happen.
And like Martha like insulting her father, and like George insulting her father. But like there's this whole like ecosystem where they're like the highest ranking echelon on campus as far as like socially, because they're college professors.
Yeah.
Well, George's. And Martha's father is
He's the dean.
The dean of the university, the head of the university. And like there's this whole like idea that they're the head of the social circles, and like in order to get in good with the dean, you have to get in good with George and Martha. And they're essentially like gods in this world. Like they determine who succeeds and who doesn't.
Yep.
And this whole hundreds of years old, thousands of years old, and like the way they play games with this new teacher and his wife really felt like allegorical for like Greek gods and Roman gods and how they like viewed mortals as games.
Yeah.
And there was this moment about 70% of the way through the movie, I was like, oh, they are gods. This is literally just like, they are gods. No, that's not the story they're telling at all. George and Martha are just terrible people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The story makes sense. Like the way it comes to a conclusion makes sense. But I was really like getting this Twilight Zone vibe, and I was like, oh, I understand why this movie and the play
slap, why people like them.
But that's not how it ends up. And like honestly, I feel like somebody who has the money or social cachet to like remake Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf should do so with my interpretation of them actually being gods. And like I feel like there's a lot of like marketability there. Like the story makes sense with very little changes. Like I was explaining that to my friend who loaned me the movie, and I was like, he's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And I was like, yeah, doesn't that make sense? And he's like, it makes so much sense. And I was like, spoilers for a 60-year-old movie.
I think it came out in 62.
66, so...
Oh, sorry. Then the play came out in 62? That sounds right.
Spoilers for an almost 60-year-old movie. At the end of the movie, George decides that he's going to tell Martha that their son is dead. The caveat being that they don't have a son, that the son is part of a game they're playing with the new couple.
Well, yes and no. Their son is a game that they play between themselves that Martha broke the rules of by mentioning to the new couple.
Mm-hmm. So George is going to decide that their son has died.
Yep.
And in my mind, this also fit with the they're gods, because he can capriciously will out of existence his son.
Yeah, and then Martha breaks down, tells him he didn't have to do that, and literally there's a line from, I can't remember his fucking name. I remember everyone else but his name.
It's George, Martha, Bunny.
Honey. Her name is Honey.
And I can't remember.
I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name. The guy in the new couple.
He's like, what are you talking about, lady? It's not like he's God.
And I was like, oh, lamp shading. It's so... But
like,
no.
Violent lamp shading, if that had been the case, yeah.
It's so good. Like, and I appreciate the ending of the movie.
Yeah. And honestly, your interpretation would work even more, because at a point there, as the couple are trying to comfort Martha, George just tells them to go, and then we cut back to Martha visually while she's still crying. And if they had just been gone when we came back, it would have like cemented that perfectly with your narrative, because like they were told to go and they would just poofed away. Would have been great. But
yeah, like I think there's a lot of like room to interpret that story as a story of gods maliciously manipulating people for their own amusement.
Yeah. And it would even make the ending where they both just, after Martha gets calmed down, how they just fall back into their old habit of just being like, okay, well, let's go to bed.
Yeah, like it...
Because their emotions are fast, violent, and fleeting, the way gods are often portrayed in Roman and Greek mythology.
I think there's a lot of room for the interpretation, and you could rewrite the movie or play in a way that that leans into those themes without like narratively changing it basically at all.
Yep.
It still works with that interpretation. Like the only thing that ruins that interpretation is like
the very, very end.
A lot of, like pieces at the very end. But the movie itself was fine. It's fine. I won't talk bad about it. It's a fine film. I thought my version was better.
Like I said, it's fine. Like when you came home and you were like, I should probably watch this, I've had it for a while. And I was like, okay. And then you told me your coworker said it was Hitchcockian in its greatness. And I was like, yeah, It's good. And don't get me wrong, I think parts of its story are better than some Hitchcock stories. Because I think Hitchcock, a great cinematographer, some of his stories were lacking.
I think
Birds, in my opinion, had a lacking story.
I
Had
think
good effects for the time, though.
the peak of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is the dialogue. Like the way both George and Martha rattle off their dialogue is just so it sucks you in.
I think
it's
a
compelling.
great example of just the way the dialogue's formed there is the conversation George has with the new professor outside on the swing, because it rattles off back and forth between them, and they do veer between so many topics, but always kind of come back to one. And it's the way that conversations can just grow between people, especially when you're drunk or tired, because you get off on a fucking tangent and you're like, wait.
Or actively manipulating somebody, which is even though the god's interpretation is wrong, George is actively manipulating this man the entire time.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? I would actually say if you haven't seen it, you should see it.
Fair.
But it's not like it wouldn't go into like my vault of best films. Like there are things in it that I think are very, very good, but it's not like that tier for me.
Yeah, it has some good cinematographic moments, but not a lot. I think that's probably is due to the fact that it is based on a stage play, so they didn't do much with changing angles.
I think like it has 3 sets roughly, maybe 4.
I would say 4 or 5. You have the
house.
Yes, but the house has a different room that I would consider different sets.
Okay, so
you have the living room set, the kitchen set, and the bedroom set.
You have the living room set and the kitchen. Sorry, you have the bedroom set, and then you have the living room and kitchen set, which are pretty much one set.
True, we actually do go between them in some shots. So you have 2 sets there. Then you have the
outside the house,
which counts for the swing and the porch because they're all visible in shots sometimes.
Then you have the bar,
and
then you have the parking lot. 5 sets.
Yeah, you're right. 5 sets.
Anyways, that's everything I had to speak of.
I don't really have anything.
No, that's okay.
I haven't done much, man. Like, our last interstitial was in December, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I've done, like, anything since December.
That's fair.
I worked. I don't think I've even played a video game since then.
I've been playing a bunch of Witcher 3.
I thought about playing more Cyberpunk the other day, and I haven't done that. It was just too much of a hassle to go turn it on.
I am finally to Skellige.
Nice.
Which have been... So, for listeners who are unaware, I have nearly beat The Witcher 3 at one point. But because it was on Xbox 360... No, PS4. Because it was on PS4, and it was pre-patches, I have a bunch of quests that I can never finish because of the way they got patched and the way, like how far I got in the quest before that.
Like the dog quest.
Yeah. So I was like... And one of those quests was for the armor set I wanted. There was no way for me to ever get the armor set I wanted. So I restarted it.
Yeah, you couldn't get the enhanced cat armor?
I couldn't get the Masterwork cat armor because I couldn't get the last piece of Superior Cat.
That's what it was.
I had all the Masterwork diagrams.
But you couldn't get the Superior Cat armor made, yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
So I've restarted. I am now on Skellige. I'm playing on not Death March, but
the one right before
Broken Bones and Crushed, whatever.
Yeah.
Which... When I first started, very hard, very, very difficult, because your first enemies are like ghouls, which are fast enemies and they outnumber you.
I would argue that no matter what level you started the game on, though, the very beginning of the game is harder than later.
Fair enough.
Because you have shit armor and weapons, and you don't have access to most of your potions, decoctions, or spells.
Yeah. Whereas I'm now at a point where I'm like, oh no, the enemy is 8 levels higher than me? Whatever will I do?
Also, as you get farther in the game, you get less and less hordes of enemies. Like, you face less clutches of neckers and swarms of alghols and ghouls.
I actually ran into like the end of a contract quest.
Yeah.
Without realizing it, and the contract quest has you fight two wyverns at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And I got there, and like I saw the first wyvern, and I was just like, cool. And I threw a grape shot at it to keep it grounded, and then I comboed it off, and it was dead in like 20 seconds. It was dead so fast, I didn't realize there was a second wyvern in the fight yet.
Nice.
So I turn, I see the other wyvern, I'm like, oh, grape shot for you, murder you. And General's like, there's got to be a mother wyvern around here somewhere. Like, these are small wyverns. And then a royal wyvern comes soaring up the cliff face.
Yeah.
And, like, the fight is supposed to be hard because it's like you fought 2 wyverns. You're supposed to be low on health and exhausted and, like, low on supplies. Now you got to fight this royal wyvern.
Yeah. I think that quest is actually one of the ones we see in, like, its original trailers, because we see it tear up the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
When we see, like, a wyvern introduced in the trailers. I think that's the quest that it's actually using for that image there in the trailer.
And then I hit that with a grape shot and comboed it to death, and I was like, oh, I think I got hit twice in the entire fight. I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I just murder things in this game now.
Because, like, at that point I have the Superior Draco toxin.
Yeah.
So like my attacks all do plus 50% damage baseline.
Yep.
I'm already like, I knew I was getting ready to fight a Wyvern, so I was dosed up on like Thunderbolt and Blizzard and
Yeah, just
like,
your Buffy decoctions.
like decoction that like makes it where your stamina recharges faster, the one that gives you bonus health, the one that like makes time slow whenever an enemy's about to hit you, your strength boost potion, like all of these things that are like, and I'm just dosing Cat's Eye now because I have the max version of Cat's Eye. So even though it like makes the game black and white, it also increases my critical hit chance by like double. So
you just play the game in black and white. It's fine.
So like, yeah, I murdered the Wyvern, and I just thought it was a 1v1 Wyvern fight. It turns out, no.
It was 3 1v1 Wyvern fights back to back.
Yeah. Anyways, Witcher 3 is great. I'm on Skellige. I'm actually like doing quest stuff, but I'm trying not to like lock myself out of quests. So I occasionally will open up the wiki and be like, hey, if I do this quest right now, is it going to lock me out of other stuff in the future?
Yeah, fair. I hate getting locked out of things. Which is also weird, because I like branching story games where I have to make choices and then can never go back. And then I'm like, man, I wonder what happened if I'd done that. And then I'd never play the game again, because it's too much time investment to go back and go through all the other branches.
It's why in a lot of games that have like branching narratives, I will like save right before choices.
You gotta save scum it, baby. You gotta save scum it.
That's not even save scum. I'll save right before the choice.
It's saving, and it's scummy. It's a save scum.
No, it's not scummy. I'll save right before the choice, make my choice, play the game out on that choice path, and then come back later and like essentially play a new game just at that narrative split point and like follow. Like you could call it save scumming, I guess, but like it's not because I'm like trying to like optimize. It's because I'm like, oh, this way I don't have to play the 8 hours previous to get to this decision making point.
Fair. I actually have another topic, I guess, technically.
Oh, ooh, yay.
And that is the topic that I assume is already, at this point, fairly well known on the internet. And that is MatPat's retiring from hosting game theory, and film theory, and food theory, and style theory.
You linked this video in our Snapchat group, and I knew that he had a big couch video coming up, which couch videos are like game theory slang or MatPat slang for like big news, important discussion videos. Yeah. He mentioned like he did a video at the end of December about how like shorts are going to kill the YouTube system as we know it. Yeah. Because while doing research and hiring people for the theory channels, one of the questions they would ask is like, what media you intake on the regular? And like people would be like, oh, I like TikTok. But like when asked, who do you like on TikTok? Or like people just wouldn't have like creators, which for me was like wild because I literally made a TikTok because there was a creator. I was like, oh, I really like his videos that my brother's showing me. Yeah. So I made a TikTok to follow him. And like I use TikTok to follow like specific people. But apparently that's not the case. Most people don't like know creators on TikTok. They just like, haha, TikTok video, scroll TikTok video.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's somewhat similar to the case, I believe, if I remember correctly, how our conversation went when we did our April Fool's episode where we reviewed a TikTok thing, and we put forward these videos to Chris and Hunter to review, and they were just like, oh, I've seen this one, but I didn't know it was part of a series. And so like, yeah, you gotta go follow the creator. Yeah. Like, I think they'd seen one of the like bank and credit card fraud things, but like not connected. I think they'd seen another one of something else, and it's like, no, these are all technically parts of a series that this creator is doing. Yeah. You just don't see them all because it's TikTok, so you just scroll through. It's why TikTok is bad for building an audience, unless you're just doing thirst trap content, in which case someone follows you because you're just going to keep popping up the same thing, and they're going to forget they've seen you before because you're doing nothing of actual content making.
Hey, there's a thirst trapper that I follow. I don't remember his name, but I can explain him to you, and you know who I'm talking about. He's the guy that does My Alien Roommate.
Yeah, okay.
He also does a bunch of thirst trap content.
Isn't his name Korean Beef?
Yeah, Korean Beef, you're right. Yeah, I love Korean
I haven't been
Beef.
on TikTok in like a year. More, maybe.
But no, like, I get on TikTok specifically, it's like, I can keep up with Nick Hill Clayton's content, and so I can keep up with the Panda Red.
Panda Red.
Like, that's why I get on TikTok.
Fair.
But MapHead did a video about how, like, the lack of creator-viewer relationship is going to hurt YouTube in the long run because that's what shorts are. Yeah. And he's like, normally this would be a couch video because of how serious this content is. But I have a really big, important couch video coming up next month, so you get GIF Pat here. Or, not GIF Pat, but PNG Pat. Yeah. GIF Pat. No, PNG Pat. That's right.
I would assume it's a PNG, yeah.
Yeah. And I knew something was coming up. Like, you linked that video in the Snapchat group.
Also, PNG Pat, wouldn't it just be like Pat and G?
I don't know. And I was like, oh, this is a clickbait title. Like he might be like starting to like let other people host the channel maybe, or like the video is goodbye internet. I was like, oh, that's
yeah.
It's gotta be sort of a clickbait.
And you're like, oh, I just thought it was clickbait. I was like, I wouldn't put it in here if it was. I watched it first.
I watched it on lunch and I almost cried at lunch. I was like, it's like, I know it's so like parasocial and so kind of like cringe, but game theory's been around.
To be fair, Matt Pat's doing it the same way in that video, man.
But like, game theory's been around for 13 years now. I've been watching game theory for 12 years.
Yeah.
Like, Matt Pat has been a integral part of my adult existence, which is wild to say. Like, I have consumed Matt Pat content regularly for a dozen years.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man.
And him being like, this is it. I'm leaving YouTube. And I was like, it was heartbreaking. Like,
I mean, it's fair that it has garnered responses from people equating it to Steve leaving Blue's Clues, basically. Which, he doesn't help that sentiment by hosting it from a big red couch.
I mean, there's also like, there's very Steve-esque vibes in part of the video where he's like, I want what's best for you guys. I know I have to leave, but like he, God.
Yep. At least from what he said, he is still involved very much in the production of things. He's just not going to be hosting.
He might still make guest appearances and stuff. Like, it's still the end of like,
yeah, definitely
an era.
Mm-hmm.
Painful, honestly. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
you see, I had the topic to mention, and I knew you would just carry it.
Fair enough.
I've never been a huge game theory fan. Like, there's been some theories that I find very interesting, but it's just not a thing I'm super interested in, because I like doing my own theories and having my own headcanons, and like, sure, some of the stuff he's done is supplementary. A lot of the other stuff is just about things that I don't care about.
The last 4 or 5 years has seen like a pretty like large vocal rising of people being like, game theory isn't the same as it used to be, and like, it's not, but like, at the same time, it's still I don't know where I was going with this. Like, it's changed obviously, and like,
yeah, so has like anything in the past 4 or 5 years. If you looked at it, it's changed. You can argue, no, it hasn't, and like, especially on YouTube, an area that archives so much, it's so easy to go back and be like, no, look at how stylistically different it is. It has to have changed to survive because YouTube's algorithm is constantly changing and bad, and it's bad. Crazy fucking shifts in what it deems good and not good throughout those time periods.
And like, well, people like maybe like, oh, I miss old Matt Pat, I miss old game theory. New game theory was still like, it's not like always been my vibe. There are complete patches of modern game theory that I haven't watched, like especially like a lot of the FNAF clone style game theories, but it's like the original FNAF theory is still a banger of a video. Like,
honestly, I don't think I've ever watched it.
The original FNAF theory compares the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, because that was the only game available at the time, to an actual murder that happened at Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh, dope.
And like, one-to-one makes direct comparisons. Like, and honestly, I think that might be where whatever his name, the creator of FNAF, I think Scott Cawthon.
Scott Cawthon sounds right.
It's right. I think that's where Scott was going with it, with that first game, and like, it only ballooned into a bigger thing later.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
An internet without game theory I guess it's not going to be an internet without game theory. An internet without Matt Pat is just going to be a much different internet.
Yep. See, as far as game theory and game theory adjacent things go, like I said, I've never been a huge game theory fan. There were a few game theories or film theories that existed that I thought were really good, or I watched them because I was interested. Mm-hmm. But up until it stopped doing it, because, again, YouTube fucks shit up, I still watch, because he has his own channel now, but I watch Austin's The Science, and I will watch Gaijin Goomba, that shit on there. Mm-hmm. Because I found those two, no offense to Matt Pat, I found Gaijin and Austin just much more entertaining than Matt Pat, no offense to him. Like, he does present things well, he's a good host. Obviously, he's super popular, it just wasn't my vibe.
Mm-hmm. No, I love Austin's content.
Like, and I think the issue is, like, for me personally, Matt Pat sits, like, right in that point when he's doing game theory and film theories for the most part, where he doesn't get too much into the science, but I found myself liking food theory and style theory more because he gets more into the science of things in those two. And if we're going to break things down, I want the science of it. It's why I like Austin with the science.
I will say,
I like Kyle Hill, and like Gaijin Goomba doesn't get so much into science, but he does like break down the history of things a bit more.
It's like, a lot of sociology.
They get into the nitty gritty of things more. Whereas Matt Pat's like, here's this theory, here's some backing evidence. His feels more like it's built towards a general audience.
Mm-hmm. I will say, each of the theory channels are going to be getting their own, like, main host.
Yeah, and we've seen them all. They've all existed on the theory channels.
I'm less familiar with the people taking over film theory and game theory than I am with the people taking over food and style theory.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that also has something to do with the fact that you've probably watched more food and style theory of the recent videos than you have film and game.
Yes. Also, because the guy that's taking over game theory, Tom, most of his, like, on-camera stuff has been through GT Live, which, as much as I love Matt, Pat, and Steph...
I mean, also, he's been around a long time, though. He had his own show back with, like, Austin and Gaijin.
Yeah.
When it first started.
Yeah.
And I've watched some of his. I think his was The Breakdown or some shit.
Yeah, it is. Well, like, I'm less familiar with Tom and the guy taking over film theory than I am with Amy and Santi.
Yeah.
And at least in those respects, I really enjoy Amy and Santi as like hosts. So I know that like I'll still enjoy those shows. It's just, what am I going to do now when Christmas comes around and we don't have a food theory video of Matt trying to eat Christmas trees? Like,
He said he'll show back up. Sometimes maybe he's just going to keep doing how to eat Christmas trees.
How do you live in a world where Matt Pat isn't trying to figure out how to eat his Christmas tree?
I don't know. Maybe they're going to figure out how to eat like garland. Like not the new modern synthetic garlands, but older garlands.
In case you guys weren't aware, modern pine trees, the type that like blue fir and stuff, the type we use for Christmas trees, are completely edible. Completely
edible, as in the bark, the
pulp, the pines.
Pulp, the pines, the roots. You can eat it all. It's just very hard to eat, but it is edible. Non-toxic, safe for human consumption.
Did you have any other topics other than Matt Pat going away? Because if not, I have the near perfect segue.
I mean, I've almost caught up on the podcasts I've been listening to.
Me too.
As in, I have 3 episodes left of The Constant, A History of Getting Things Wrong with Mark Chrysler. And then I'll have 3 episodes of Our Fake History with Sebastian Major, which I was caught up, but then I was listening to The Constant, and also it was a 3-part series coming out one every 2 weeks. So like a month and a half of like just about Beethoven, I believe. No, Mozart. I haven't listened to it yet. And I was like, I want to listen to those all at once, so I haven't listened to them. But,
fair.
There's some weird shit there that I could talk about, like random things I've learned. But if you have a more consistent topic, feel free.
Well, we were talking about Matt Pat leaving.
Yep.
And I think it's time that we talk about us leaving.
Oh, true. Fair.
Because it's not a permanent goodbye. It's more of a see you later. But Co-Pilot's Review will be taking a near 4-month hiatus. We'll be back on May 2nd.
Yep.
For our 4-year anniversary, but we are going to be taking some time off to build up the backlog, build up some bonus content for the Patreon, and in general, I wouldn't say rebrand, but re-push the brand.
Yeah.
Do an advertising marketing push, like just try to make Co-Pilots
a little bit more refined.
A little bit more successful.
Yeah.
These, by some metrics, we're insanely successful. By that, I mean...
We still exist.
We still exist. The average podcast lasts like 10, I think, actually, the average podcast like has 5 or less episodes before it just stops. And we are like very nearly at the 150 mark. If
something like that. It's ridiculous in that point.
So like in some ways, in one specific way, actually, we're insanely successful. But in a way where the podcast like pays for itself, or like podcast like works as like a little bit of a side hustle. I don't even expect that to happen. Like, just
the one thing I would like from it is that it can pay for itself to continue to exist by being like, if it can pay its own hosting fees on Simplecast. That's like the one thing I would want from this thing.
Yeah.
All the other sunk costs, it's fine. Even if we stop recording, I have a mic and a Focusrite that I can just use in perpetuity for anything. I don't know. Or sell it, I guess. But the hosting rights would just be nice if it could cover it itself.
Yeah. So, again, not a goodbye. We will return, but we are going to be taking some time off. I would say keep an eye on the feed because we might do, like, in the cockpit updates. But we have some big plans going forward after May 2nd. I don't want to speak any of those into being until we're sure that they are going to be a thing.
Yeah.
But just a complete restructuring of how the Co-Pilots podcast is produced, when it airs, so on and so forth.
That's the idea.
If you don't have anything else, I think that's a good time to call it in.
I mean, I would say so. But, I don't know. What if we bantered for, 45 more seconds?
Oh, we're not at that 45-minute mark yet?
No. And especially because I know we're going to have to edit out some things because it's pretty stormy. So we've had some pauses here and there, See, that's the type of thing we deal with. It's what makes getting some episodes out hard. We have not the best recording space, which is fine, but it does mean if there's heavy traffic, we have to stop talking or stop recording. If there's heavy rain or wind, we have to stop talking.
I'm still telling you.
Recording.
I'm still telling you, we could get some soundproof panels, redo your closet, and just record in the closet.
Fair, I guess.
Like early YouTubers, like Matt Pat.
Again, I'm not opposed to it. I've never said I was opposed to it. I don't use it, really.
Your closet, because it's, twice the size of mine.
Yeah, we'd have to take out, a thing of built-in shelves, and honestly, they're so easy to remove.
But yeah,
I've looked at it.
We could record in the closet, like Matt Pat. Matt Pat, who's going away.
Yeah, like us.
Unlike us, though, his is permanent.
No, he'll still be appearing now and then, and he's still involved in the production, which, like us, we're still involved in the production of co-pilots.
But unlike Matt Pat, we have a solidified return date.
Oh, I thought I didn't have to host this anymore. I thought I was just going to edit it, and that'd be fine.
I don't think we ever agreed to that. Are you finding a replacement co-host?
No, I figured you were just going to, like, jump between chairs.
Nuh-uh, not happening.
Oh,
If you just want to do the editing and production, I mean, I'm fine with that. If you can find a reliable replacement who's willing to record the night before episodes go live.
That's what the backlog's supposed to stop from happening.
Yeah. Like, my only worry about, like, building the backlog, because while we're killing time, is that it makes it harder to make topical references within the episodes.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, how topical are our references in general? Like,
we don't make super topical ones. We make some that are, like, really topical or relevant, but most of those time, those aren't topical or relevant to a mainstream audience anyways.
Fair enough.
And normally, if we're getting more topical or relevant to mainstream audience, it's generally in the cockpit, which I don't think we really need to build a backlog of those ones.
No.
It's backlogs of reviews.
Yeah, the ones that take effort and time.
Yeah, that we can't just be like, okay, we got an episode we got to do, sit down, fucking record us just babbling at a microphone, and then edit it and post it.
Yeah, microphone babbling makes In the Cockpit the easy one.
It really does.
The only time I think In the Cockpit edits get hairy is like when we have a guest or two.
Or 4.
Have we had 4? Oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah. That was actually more than 4, I think, if I remember correctly.
That was JSD, Kance, Logic, Hunter.
And Chris. That was 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Jax.
Jax wasn't on there.
Jax wasn't on there?
No.
Oh, I thought
We've talked about Jax. We haven't had anything with him because he works a normal person job in a much different time zone.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. He did do our theme music.
He did, and it's fucking great.
I
actually managed to catch his stream yesterday because he streams no time period where I am normally asleep.
I think at the end of the day, no matter how successful or unsuccessful Co-Pilots as a podcast is, the cool things that it did was like the art.
Yeah.
Like Jess killed it with the art.
She's a great artist, yeah. Like anytime I see her artwork, I'm just like, fucking awesome.
And then Jax doing that music. Like,
yep.
At least that way, Co-Pilots has made the world a better place just because it brought new art into the world.
Yeah. The new art's always great.
Yeah. Even if you're not like along for the review ride. There has been reasons for Co-Pilots.
Yeah. Also, technically, because we existed and I attempted to make minor clout, I guess, technically once upon a time. There is that fun, now this is Halloween art with Jack Skellington as a pod racer.
It is still my banner on Twitter and now on Blue Sky. Because even though it's no longer seasonally relevant, it is just fucking hilarious.
Look, honestly, I said it was for minor clout. It wasn't even for that. It was just the fact that John was just like, man, if this was a thing, Jeff was like, yeah, see, here I'll do it. And I was like, nah, man, Jeff, it doesn't take that much effort. And then I did it. And it took a bit more effort than I wanted, but it was still worth it.
Now this is Halloween. Such a good picture.
All right, I think we're good now.
Oh, you think we've filled for time well enough?
I mean, arguably, sure. I think that's what we've been doing for the past few years, just filling time.
Oh, well, you're not wrong on that. Anyways, we want to thank you for hanging out in the cockpit. We will be back. Co-Pilots Review will return on May 2nd. Set your clocks. We will be back.
Don't set your clocks. That's dumb. Calendars. We're talking in larger units here than minutes and hours.
Okay, set your watches. We'll be back on May 2nd. Because some watches have like day and month and...
Yeah, fair, I guess. You don't know what else? Set your DeLoreans, then you can just skip there.
To be fair, if you have a DeLorean that can time travel, what are you doing? Why are you listening to this podcast? What are you doing?
Fair.
Anyways, if you want to get in contact with us, there's a myriad of ways to do that. We already mentioned it earlier in the episode, but we're now on Blue Sky at copilotsreview.bsky.social. We're also on Twitter at copilotsreview.
You can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
And you can find links to those, our Patreon, our Discord, our out-of-date YouTube, all on copilotsreview.simplecast.com.